Municipal elections will be taking place across Alberta on October 18th. And today we have the opportunity to speak with one of our Lethbridge mayoral candidates. She's no stranger to City Hall as she was a two-term city councillor. Bridget Mearns, welcome to Bridge City News. So great to have you on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So first of all, Bridget, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your background, why you decided to run for mayor's office? This, of course, is your second time running for mayor, actually. You ran back in 2013 against Chris Bierman. So it's obviously something you're very passionate about.
I think you opened that really well. Public service is something that is core to who I am. Those are the values that I hold. I knew when I left City Council in 2017 that I might come back someday, and this just felt like the right opportunity. I had been meeting with a number of people who encouraged me to run. I listened to what they had to say. I recognized that I shared the same vision for our city that they did. And so I sat with my family and I spoke with my network and was encouraged to go for it. And I'm pleased to do that.
That sounds great. Now, Bridget, you're currently the executive director, right, of BUILD, so Building Industry and Land Development Association.
The executive officer.
Executive officer. Okay. So if you were voted in as mayor, what would happen to the BUILD organization? Would you still have your hands in that?
No, that would be something I would absolutely step away from. So I would resign from this position and they'd replace me.
Okay. Talk about your position there a little bit, what you've been up to the past number of years.
Oh goodness. Well, that's a big one. Well, it's a membership association, like you said, for land developers and home builders. But our focus has been over the last couple of years is a real focus on affordability. So looking at ways how development is done in the municipality, but also advocating at provincial and federal levels around mortgage stress tests, 30-year amortization. Locally, we've been looking at the land use bylaw. We've spent a significant amount of time with the municipal development plan. We've consulted on the municipal housing strategy. Those are just off the top of my head. We have a very close relationship, and our focus really is to make the land industry vibrant because it is one of the largest employers in our city. But it's also important to our citizens to have great housing choices and neighborhoods.
Yeah. Okay. So getting back to the election here. So Bridget, you say that you want to build bridges across the issues that divide us. So certainly one of the most divisive issues in our city has been the debate over the now closed supervised consumption site. So do you believe that another SCS would be helpful to our city, or are other solutions a better option?
So this is one of the issues that sprung me into action and why I wanted to run for mayor. This is an issue that divided our city. And it divided our city council. It became a wedge issue. We do have an overdose prevention site at the shelter. They are looking to rezone and bring that inside to the building so that it has the proper supports around it. The issue became about whether or not harm reduction is a proper method of dealing with addiction, when we should have been talking about it globally. We should have been talking about the issues that are affecting homelessness and addiction. Talking about the support services that happen around a harm reduction. So it really isn't either or, even though that's where the discussion was stuck. This is about making sure that we have a plan to deal with all of the issues that are affecting the drug crisis and the homelessness issues that we're seeing in the city.
So if the province and the city decided to go ahead with a new supervised consumption site, or perhaps a dry site, similar to, say, the mustard seed proposal, do you think that there are some potential places in our city where this could work?
I absolutely believe there are places in the city for this to work. Looking at things like this long term, we can look at how development is affected using the land use bylaw in new developments and ensuring that we've got the social infrastructure already in new developments moving forward. But we always run up against the issue of NIMBYism. But I absolutely am convinced that this is something that we can solve together as a community and experts. This isn't an issue that's unique to Lethbridge. This is happening around North America. There are great examples in other municipalities where they're dealing and have had some success in this area. I turn to the Calgary Drop-In Center that have both dry and wet floors. They have day services. They have laundry for services and shower opportunities. So there really is an ability to bring some dignity to those who are suffering with these challenges. And we can do that together in a way that's meaningful and deal with an issue to bring us forward into something better.
Now, Bridget, you are no stranger to City Council. So in your opinion, what needs to change at Lethbridge City Council in order to bring about less division?
So just to clarify, it's absolutely healthy for city councilors to have differing opinions. They're elected representatives and they represent our community. Our community isn't always agreeing on the same thing, so neither should your city council. What needs to happen, though, is having the leadership where it is understood as a foundational basis that there is a respect for everybody who's in that city council chamber, equally representing and elected to be there. So being able to create that foundation, creating a forum where healthy and respectful debate can happen, but then a decision is made, and that becomes unified vision and direction of council, and that's up to the leader to happen. When you see that there's division, it's when decisions become undermined, or you see these things become wedge issues. And if you see them there, you'll see them in our community.
Mm-hmm. Now, Lethbridge keeps scoring very poorly in the Crime Severity Index. Any thoughts on how you would go about reducing crime and making our city a safer place?
Yeah, so the Crime Severity Index, there's a couple of things to note about that. One, probably most notable, is that it doesn't include any municipalities that have police forces that are RCMP. It's only municipalities that have their own force. So when you add in those municipalities like Red Deer, we're actually 20th on the list. But to be clear, 20th is not great either. So it's really important that we continue to focus on those determinants of crime. So again, the homelessness, the drug crisis, making sure that people have the supports that they need in place, whether it's in recovery or transition or just day-to-day day supports. So addressing that, there's no one quick fix, there's no one solution, but focusing on what those determinants are will go a long way to seeing some success.
Mm-hmm. Now, Bridget, should our city get hit by another wave of COVID-19, how would you handle the situation for our city, keeping us safe while not hurting the economy?
Right. So this is obviously a very timely discussion with the province removing all of the public health measures. I've heard a lot of concern from employers, employees, parents, and it's legitimate concern. The fact of the matter is, to make decisions like this, you rely on the chief medical officer of our province, who relies on the best evidence they can. It is up to the provincial government to do a health mandate. That being said, if there were to be a situation where we felt that the province was not following through on that mandate, and we were seeing some concerns here in our city, it would absolutely be up to mayor and council to have those discussions.
So would you reenact a mask mandate, for example?
Well, I think those are discussions that you'd have to have. I don't think having a hypothetical conversation around it is helpful. All of those things have to be determined based on the information that you have at the time.
Okay.
But the first and foremost responsibility would be to continue to advocate for the province to take on that responsibility.
Right. Now, Bridget, First Nations issues are very important to you. So what, practically speaking, needs to happen to achieve reconciliation in our city?
I think there's been some really great work done on this front. Lethbridge, from what I understand, is in the forefront of other municipalities in dealing with this issue. Having Oki as our official greeting, having the Reconciliation Advisory Committee, having a presence of Indigenous peoples in our municipal development plan. There's lots of good stuff coming forward. It's important we continue with the truth, learning that, and then moving towards that reconciliation, remaining with close ties with our First Nations communities. I want to read you something because I was prepared for this question. And this is a clip out of the Truth and Reconciliation report. Reconciliation must create a more equitable, inclusive society by closing the gaps in health, social, and economic outcomes that exist between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal Canadians. Right there is the perfect directive on where our city needs to continue to go.
Wow, thank you for that. Now, Bridget, there's quite a bit of ground to recover, obviously, when it comes to our local economy, with many businesses having to close or cut back due to the pandemic, unfortunately. So, what's your plan to improve things for our local businesses and get people working again?
So first and foremost, we have to be listening, asking and listening our local businesses on how we can support them. But as a municipality, there are a number of ways that we can do that. Operationally, of course, so making sure that we're an efficiently run operation and they continue to see values for their tax dollars. But there's also things like investing in economic drivers in our community. Exhibition Park is a really great example of that. So not only does it create jobs during construction phase, but it will continue to create jobs as it opens and attracts businesses to our city. The third part of that is the reputation of our city. So making sure that we have the message of how incredible our city really is. And we're not focusing on what challenges us, but we're focusing on what makes us great. So those are our post-secondary institutions. Those are our wonderful parks and amenities. Those are our resilient and creative businesses. It's the compassion of our people. There's so much that we have to offer in our city, and that needs to be first and foremost in our messaging coming from the city.
Now, along the same vein is that you've been very active with tourism, Lethbridge, over the years. So, how can we bring more tourism to the city?
So again, going back to the investment in exhibition, which you know has I've been nurturing along for 9 years, and so it's great to see it funded. It's going to have a great impact for us. Continuing to invest in the support around it, like an airport, seeing those kind of things will be important. Tourism Lethbridge is a marketing organization, so making sure that it's properly funded so that we are getting the message out about how incredible our city is and supporting that new investment that we're making at Exhibition Park. All of that will continue to grow our tourism in our area. Really, we're a wonderful place, and it's just a matter of making sure everyone else knows it too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, inclusion is also an important issue to you. Can you maybe share what an inclusive city should look like in your view?
So that it's such a big thing to say inclusive, but really what it means is that everyone can equitably participate in the life here in Lethbridge. It's going to look different for each person and how they engage in that, but having that equitable ability or opportunity, so that means accessible, that means affordable, that means meeting people where they are and supporting them where they are. That's what an inclusive city looks like.
I know I threw a lot of questions at you, but what would you say to viewers in wrapping up why they should vote for you on October 18th?
Well, I know that we haven't had a whole lot of time here, and there's the questions that you've asked are really big ones, and I have a lot more to say about them, and I will over the next 2 months as we campaign, and I continue to meet with our citizens and business and families and parents and loved ones and friends. But at the end of the day, I'm bringing forward a vision I believe I share with the citizens of Lethbridge. And it is a vision where we build on our strengths and not focus on our challenges. We address our challenges 100%, but that's not where we live. We really are a hopeful city. We're a vibrant city. I bring the government experience. I bring the passion and the skills to drive. And I offer that to the citizens of Lethbridge to move us forward to building a brighter Lethbridge together. I offer the broad experience as an experienced public servant, but also as a business leader, as a community builder, and as a champion for Lethbridge. So I believe that I'm the best candidate, and I'm offering that choice to the citizens of Lethbridge on October 18th, and I'm hoping they'll take me up on it.
Well, thanks so much for being with us today, Bridget. Appreciate having you on.
Thank you for having me.